We are back, and this is Born to Speak to You TV. I'm your host, Calvin Gibbs, and we are going to be talking this episode about project management and why project management matters. Well, it matters basically because it's the difference between just working and actually achieving something that's meaningful. And here's some key reasons why project management is so important. It provides clarity and direction. All participants in a project should understand exactly what's being done, how it's going to be done, and what the finished product is going to be. You can only do that if someone is intentional with clarity and giving direction. Also, another thing that's important with project management is efficiency and resource management. You have to know how to use time and money and resources, which could be people. They're all limited. You have a budget and you want to always try to come in as close to the budget as you can. Maybe under budget would be fine. But project management ensures that all of the resources are used wisely. It helps to avoid waste, scope creep, and we're going to talk about scope creep a little bit too, and just blowing the budget out of the water. It also helps with risk reduction. Every project that you may work on or be a part of has risk. There's missed deadlines, there's cancellations, there are cost overruns, there's people that get ill. Sometimes things have to be postponed, and then you try to get back on schedule, try to make up for lost time. Good project management allows or anticipates these risks, and it builds strategies to minimize them in the first place. Another important aspect of project management is accountability and communication. It creates structure, and I love structure. I love to know who's in charge of what, who's responsible for what, when tasks are due, what should happen if it goes past the time when it's due. This keeps everyone in alignment, and that is so important in project management. And it also provides consistency and quality. Project management has certain proven processes that are going to be applied to standards to make sure that the quality stays where it is. There's always quality and consistency, and ensuring that the end product actually delivers what was promised. And the last thing, stakeholder satisfaction. If you are a project manager, you always want to make sure that end product is going to be what the stakeholder is expecting. Okay, because if it's not, then there's problems. Okay, something went wrong. Maybe you went over budget. Communication was not done effectively. So these six these six processes are all part of project management and why it matters. So right now we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, I'm going to introduce you to my guest today, only on Born to Speak to You TV. This is Calvin Gibbs with Born to Speak to You TV, and here's your Born to Rise tips. Sometimes the best things you can do is not think, not wonder, not imagine, don't obsess. Just breathe and have faith that everything will work out for the best. Oftentimes we make ourselves sick, worrying, obsessing, having anxiety about what's going to be. Just have faith that everything is going to come out okay. And usually it does. The things that you're worrying about have no merit in your life. They're there to confuse you, to make you feel weak, to make you feel inadequate. So the best thing you can do is don't worry about it. Don't think about it. Don't wonder about it. Don't obsess over it. Just have faith that everything will work out for the best.
From the streets of Brooklyn, where stories grow wild, to the glow of the stage where the dream meets the child. A quiet flame, a hidden spark, drawn to the words that lit up the dark.
And we are back. This is Born to Speak to You TV. I'm your host, Calvin Gibbs, and I am pleased, I'm so blessed to have my guest here with me today. I want to tell you just a little bit about her. Florence René exemplifies resilience, empowerment, and continuous growth. She has a 20-year career in the financial services industry. She's a seasoned professional with many passions, which includes technology, project management, reading and writing. She has a master's in professional accounting, a BS in marketing, and a minor in women's studies. She's a certified project management professional, also known as a PMP. She's an Agile certified practitioner and an AWS certified cloud practitioner. Now, besides all of those professional things that she's into, she's also deeply committed to volunteerism and empowering others. Please welcome my guest for today, Florence René. Hey, Florence, how are you? I can't hear you right now.
How's that?
That is fine. How are you today?
Doing great, Calvin. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being on the show. Let's jump right into it. You have a lot of very impressive background in project management. So I just want to ask you, how do you personally define project management? And in today's fast-paced world, why does it matter?
I think project management matters because everything we touch, everything we use as individuals, families, even professionals, some project team was somewhere behind the curtain making it happen. So project management is about making things happen so that people, everyday people, can actually use them. So you can think about like a vehicle, the chair that I'm sitting on, some project team had a hand in bringing this product to life at one point in time.
Okay. So basically, it's a team of people working together to get from the beginning or an idea to completion to finish,
Right.
finished product.
Exactly.
And I know that in my other life in Toastmasters, I have been involved and led many, many projects.
Mhm.
Now, I'm not going to lie. In the beginning, I didn't know what I was doing as far as leading a team, but I have learned a lot of techniques and I have seen a lot of success leading teams because now I know about accountability, I know about communication, I know how to forecast into the future and use my resources very well. So, what drew you into project management?
It's a long story, but the quick version is that I started selling. I was basically on the front lines selling branch management at Wells Fargo. And I was always intrigued by all the financial products that I would have to sell. Like, how did we end up with this card? And what was that all about? And that was when I realized that project managers weren't just limited to construction or super technical fields, that it could actually be part of a bank, for example. It could actually be part of a school, that it was broader than I initially thought. In my mind, especially coming up, I didn't have the exposure. So it really took me working, getting my first big girl job to really get that exposure. And once I understood what it was and I saw the benefit of it, I made sure to get the credentials and do what I had to do to make that jump from the front line, I guess you could say, to the background, if you
Hmm.
will.
Yeah, that's great. You know, I have done or been involved in so many projects. I like to lead projects rather than be one of those team members that's only responsible for a part of it.
Mhm.
I like to be the one that has the forecasting and can call some shots in the project because I think that's where my leadership skills shine the best. And I have some set steps that I take when I'm first starting a project. So, what can you share something that you might do as a first step when you start any project?
Well, there are different tips and tricks,
Right?
but for me, the one that I usually do that has yet to fail me is understanding who my stakeholders are. So looking at the stakeholder register, looking at any lessons learned, so from prior projects or similar projects, just to see if I can actually get any nuggets of learning. So I have that as my baseline before you move forward. So a stakeholder register, knowing who's who, what the skill sets are, and who do I need, who am I missing? And again, like I said, those lessons learned from other projects or well, similar projects, I should say.
Right. And of course, there's a classic triangle in project management, and that's always cost, time, and quality, right?
Mhm.
I know that I sometimes, well, I used to. I put it like that. I used to have problems dealing with the time factor, but as I learned how to forecast better, uh, that got taken care of, and the quality is always foremost in my mind. So, how do you balance that triangle of time, cost, and quality?
Well, the the surest way is through communication and following
Mm,
through,
mm,
following through with all the people that you need to, so all your stakeholders, to get your timelines, to get your estimates, and hopefully shrink your estimates to something that's realistic. And then the big thing is I like to, I would say, under promise, over deliver. Is that the
right.
same?
Yes.
So try to make sure, you're not at a point where you are apologizing for something that you could have been avoided. So I try to balance it out, just following through and just being relentless and communicating with my people, with my team, and my business partners, and whoever else ha- with the business need to know.
Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
Well, Florence, I'm going to get a little personal with you because I think
Okay.
this, I think this is part of project management as well. Have you
Okay.
ever had to project manage a family outing or a
Yes.
family dinner?
Absolutely. In fact, maybe yes, absolutely. 3 years ago, we had my mom's 60th birthday party, and I basically project managed the party from out of state with my
Hmm.
siblings, of course. So it's a skill set really that applies to just about anything. It doesn't have to be just work. It can be a party or a barbecue or anything like a big trip, for example.
Okay.
It's very versatile.
Well, I have found that working with family and friends, it usually doesn't go well. there's
Yeah.
always there's always someone that forgot the communication, forgot their responsibility, left something at home for a trip that they definitely need, like
Yes.
I don't know, ID,
Yes. Yes. And
things like that.
as a PM, you always want to have a backup plan. So for that party, because I had a couple siblings who were forgetful, I basically came out with printouts of the agenda for the event.
Mm-hmm.
So even at work, you always want to have a backup plan, risk mitigation, basically. That's what it comes down to.
Yes, yes,
Mhm.
yes. And even let me see, over the last 25 years, we've moved twice. So moving from one house
Yeah,
to another is a big project management.
right.
Twice we thought we had things all planned out. Twice we didn't have everything packed when it was supposed to be packed. And there was a lot of cleanup work after the truck had already left. So we've decided that if we have to move again, we're not packing anything. We're going to manage all of the movers, have them come in, tell them what to do, and just watch them execute. So
Mhm.
yeah, that will make that project, the management of that project, a lot easier for me and my wife. So
Yes.
my next question for you, and I want to just try to get a little creative with this project management, questioning. If you could compare a project to a food dish, what would it be? And what happens if someone skips an ingredient?
I am Haitian by birth, so I'm gonna
Yes.
use, but I'm not gonna use the dish that I had in mind, but I'm gonna go closer to home, which is Louisiana, the gumbo.
Oh, yes.
So the Haitian dish that I had in mind is very similar to the gumbo. So it
Mm.
has a lot of ingredients. Therefore, a project has a lot of different people, different personalities, different needs, and they all come together. You got to have it all together, all the flavor profile, everything has to come together. That would be the dish that comes to mind
Yeah. And you know
for
what?
that question.
Yeah, I would totally agree with you. I think you nailed that one right on the head. In my family, for New Year's Eve, the tradition is that Mr. Gibbs will cook a big old pot of gumbo.
Mhm.
And it took me about 5 years, trying to get it right because I only cook it once a year. But now I understand those flavor profiles that you just spoke of. And
Mhm.
when something's not there, when something's not right, you kind of know it right
Yep.
away.
Yep.
Yeah. But now I know how to go back and fix it as I go along. And the end result for the last 3 years has always been very good. The family can't get enough of it. I might have to do 2 pots this year. Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
So let me ask you another question. I know sometimes with project management, it can become a very stressful, um, emotional thing for not only the leader, but for the team as well. How do you handle those moments? How do you inspire and motivate a team that's under pressure?
I think as a leader, whether you are the PM or you're not the PM. I think your attitude, what you bring, how you carry yourself, self-regulation, self-awareness, all of that plays into bringing positivity, making sure that other people feel heard, even if it's chaotic. There's some sense of stability. Even if inside you are going crazy, but
Right.
outside you just project that image of having it together. Of course, you have to be vulnerable because that's how people connect, right? So you can't be perfection 100%. You can't be after perfection 100%. But I think having emotional intelligence, like I said, that self-regulation, that self-awareness, and of course, communicating with the other people involved. It's not good to let them be in the dark too much. I think it's a matter of sharing what needs to be shared, and then the other stuff, you just kind of deal with it on a need to know basis. Uh,
Okay.
as a leader, you bring the weather, right?
Right.
So, and everybody else kind of like follow, and if you bring rain, then everybody gets wet.
That's right. That's right. And also, if you try to bring a sunny day and it's raining in their lives or in that project,
Yeah.
then they're not going to buy it. So,
Yes, it has to make sense. And that's where
yeah.
that self-awareness and also just communication come into
Hmm.
play, and just being honest about what's going on to the extent that you can, because not everything needs to be discussed, fully or with every single person if it doesn't apply to them, especially.
Right. And I found that as a leader, having empathy is a big part of that too, because there's been some times when things go wrong in people's lives, and this is in the middle of a big project, and I get it. Life happens,
Yeah.
and as a leader, of course, I want them to not be going through what they're going through, but they are, and I have to find a way to comfort them, put myself into their shoes, and help them.
Hmm.
If I can help them get past whatever's going on, maybe it's with an assistant, maybe it's taking the load off a little bit of them for a period of time. That empathy portion is very important too for leadership.
Yes. And maybe not necessarily taking on the work myself, but also finding others who can help them. Delegating and spreading that load is
Hmm.
another way you can actually, I guess, show empathy to anybody who's struggling on your team. And of course, doing things together, even like food days count. Bringing like a potluck, those kind
Sure.
of things, those team morale,
Hmm.
team building events, they
Yeah.
count. They count for something.
Oh yeah, they do. I enjoy going out for a dinner with the team, or maybe having a liquid um, cocktail after work, and just treating them, having that moment where everybody can just let their guard down and just enjoy each other's company. I
Yeah.
find that bond that we create and we bring back to the workplace
Right.
really helps a lot.
Yeah.
So in the opening, I spoke a little bit. I mentioned scope creep.
Yes.
Yes, I hate scope creep. For those that don't know, scope creep is when people keep adding to a project after it's already been, laid out, forecasted. They want to change this, they want to add this, that, the other. How do you deal with scope creep?
Again, it comes down to communication. I think that is first and foremost. So you want to understand what is it that they are asking or needing, what's the priority. Is this something that can be delivered maybe in phase 2? What's
Yeah.
the rush? What's the need here? and talking through that to understand and then make the call to either include it or not include it. Because you don't want to reject somebody just because it was never discussed prior, because maybe something changed. We have learned enough as the project went along, and now a business need came up, and now we have to address it. So communication, I think, is where it comes down to understanding what is being requested and making that judgment, that prioritization call around it.
Okay.
But scope creep can be a good thing. Maybe the initial requirements were not up to snuff, because it happens. Things change. And so it's not an automatic turn down when it comes to scope creep for me, because I want to learn what is it about and go from there.
Okay. That's fair enough. Just me personally, once I have everything laid out, planned out, and in motion, I don't want too many changes if possible.
Right. But you don't just outright reject or deny the request. Mm-hmm. You got to understand what's going on, because maybe it is something that was missed from the initial, round of requirements, the initial planning, and maybe it can be included. So I always like to have a conversation to understand.
Okay, very good. Now, for someone that's totally new to project management, maybe this is their first job in this arena, what is one piece of advice you would give to a newbie?
Well, the number one advice, I guess I'll do two if I can get away with two. Project management is broad, so all industries, healthcare, finance, insurance, everywhere, football, entertainment, everywhere, legal. And then the other thing is that you don't have to be the project manager to be a project professional. Nowadays, there are so many different roles that you can actually do as part of a project, and you can still add value. Of course, everybody wants to be the ultimate leader, but you can still add value. You can still find ways to bring your leadership to a project team without having to wear the PM title yourself. I think I'm a perfect example of that. I never really worked on a project as a project manager. It was always under some other title, but I was doing the work, just the title was different. So don't just get so fixated. I guess that's the final message. Don't just get so fixated on the title, and then you miss the opportunities, you miss the experience, you miss the learnings that you could have gotten.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for that. That's been a wealth of knowledge. And we're going to take a little break, and then we're going to come back with more on this topic, from chaos to clarity, the project manager's playbook, with my special guest, Florence René, right here on Born to Speak to You TV. We'll be right back. Welcome to Born to Speak to You TV, where we're speaking life into the moments that matter. This isn't just a show. It's a movement. It's a space where stories are honored, voices are lifted, and truth has a mic. Each episode, we dive into powerful conversations on identity, on equity, growth, healing, leadership, and the courage that it takes to speak up in a world that often wants us to keep quiet. Whether it's through personal testimony, community impact, or artistic expression, Born to Speak to You is where voices rise and change begin. Our mission is simple: to empower people to use their voice, own their truth, and build bridges of communication and understanding. So, sit back or lean in, because you're about to witness what happens when passion meets purpose. This is Born to Speak to You TV. Let's speak life. We are back. This is Born to Speak to You TV. I'm Calvin Gibbs, your host, and my guest today has been giving us so much information on project management. She's Florence René. This episode is called From Chaos to Clarity, the Project Manager's Playbook. And we've talked about a lot of things, but I want to now ask just a few questions, Florence, about how is technology, AI, for example, remote collaboration tools, for example, how is that changing project management? Especially AI.
Yeah, I think the changes are inevitable. I think the changes are all around us. There's no hiding from them, right? So it's a matter of embracing them, and especially with AI and so many things that are done on a project, you can actually get AI assistance, to do those, I'll say, low-hanging fruit, but they are valuable, but maybe time spent on status reporting, and editing and making sure it's correct. Now you can maybe upload a status into some AI tool and have AI restructure your status report for you. And you can use that time to do something else. So in my mind, I think it's great. I welcome it because efficiency is the name of the game, the bottom line, and anything that makes my life easier, if I can take advantage of it, I will. So I am team AI, team technology. In this day and age, you cannot escape it. You just have to embrace it. And if you don't have the knowledge or what have you, take some classes, Udemy classes, LinkedIn Learning, or talk to somebody who's doing something in that space and get that one-on-one time. So there are so many ways you can actually upskill and get plugged in to AI and tech.
Okay, and thank you for that. I'm glad that you mentioned, getting some additional education on certain things in AI. There's a lot of misconceptions about it,
Yeah.
and I think it helps everybody, no matter what industry you're in, to get some knowledge about it, see how it can make your life easier or not. So I know when you started in project management, there was no AI. So where do you see the future of project management going in the next, let's say, 5 to 10 years?
I would say 5 to 10 years is even probably too far down the road. I would say within the next year or two, I think it's advancing really, really quickly. There's always a new version out there. And so we should be able to do a lot more with less. And us, those of us workers, the human beings, we just have to get in line and get behind the technology so we can actually be the one to tell it what to do, because I think there is still a place for the human element, that emotional aspect, the context, for example, that we can bring to something. I don't think AI is there just yet with that, but that's not to say it can't happen. But I think just embracing it, like I said earlier, embracing it, get yourself trained up, upskill as soon as you can, and just be ready.
Okay. A lot of people I speak to about AI always feel that that AI is going to take away jobs. Do you think that in the realm of project management, the responsibilities that some team members have, that they would, in their particular responsibility, be able to use AI not only to keep themselves employed, of course, but to be more creative with their responsibilities?
I don't think AI will take jobs away. I think it will change or shift jobs. And it's a matter of us catching up and staying on top of the advancements. I think I would expect things like status report, for example, to be a space where maybe as opposed to be physically typing up, you might be able to speak it into an AI tool or upload something into an AI tool and then let it do its thing. And then as the human, I would be the editor, because you have to verify AI. AI by itself hallucinates. So it needs that human eye, and it needs that human EQ, skill that we have to make sure that the content of whatever it produces lands correctly with the stakeholders, whoever's going to read it. So I don't think AI takes job away. I think it just kind of shifts the way we work. And it's a matter of us just staying up with the time and just being that sponge and following the technology, or leading the technology even in some cases.
Okay. All right, cool. And Florence, I know you have so much experience in this area. What would you like your legacy to be through your work as a project manager?
My legacy, that's a very good question. And I was going to leave it with a technical answer, but I'm going to say this. I am not my job. I can switch industries or change profession anytime. So my legacy is that wherever I was or whatever I was doing, I was kind, I was empowering others, and I contributed somehow to the bottom line. I did work that added value. That would be my legacy.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be my legacy. And of course, just an overall good human. I think that's really needed in at work. And so if I can be remembered along those lines, I think that's a win.
Okay, I would agree with you. Totally agree with you. And my last question for this episode would be, if our viewers could remember just one thing from this conversation that we've had, what would it be?
Our viewers, and especially the youth, especially the early career people, and especially the minorities, first generation college students like myself, immigrants, is that to open up your horizon. Don't let your parents' job or what you see your auntie did to earn a living limit you. There are so many things that you can do. And take myself, for example, as a Haitian, I was supposed to be in medical or legal somewhere doing something along those lines. But here I am doing, I guess you could say, financial industry, and loving it after 20 years. Now, that's not to say I couldn't change my mind and go into medical something, but I gave myself permission to try something different, to try something that excited me when I was younger. And I would encourage all those groups to do the same. And even the older people, like, don't limit yourself, just because you started in one arena doesn't mean you have to stay there.
All right. That's some powerful, powerful words. I hope our viewers take it to heart. And I want to thank you so much for being on the show.
Absolutely.
Florence René, thank you so much. And we're going to take a little break, and we'll be right back. This is Born to Speak to You TV, and I'm Calvin Gibbs. See you in just a minute. We are back. This is Born to Speak to You TV, and I'm your host, Calvin Gibbs. We just had a great conversation with my guest, Florence René, about project management, and she's been in that field for 20 years. She has a lot of experience and a lot of knowledge. So I want to share with you a little story of mine. And this is what I call the project management pizza. People always ask me, Calvin, what's the hardest project that you've ever managed? Well, it wasn't a keynote. It wasn't a training program. It wasn't even coordinating anything in Toastmasters. It was, believe it or not, pizza night with my friends. I thought that we had it all figured out. I said, don't worry, folks. Got this. Tonight's pizza project is going to run like clockwork. Task list, check. Budget. I had a 2-for-1 coupon. Check. Timeline. Delivery in 30 minutes or less. Check. What could go wrong, right? Well, let me tell you. That pizza night turned to a masterclass in scope creep. We talked about scope creep earlier. It's when people keep adding onto the project. Well, one friend wanted pepperoni. Another friend wanted pineapple. Yes, pineapple on a pizza. I know some people like that. I'm not a fan of it. And then, of course, somebody else wanted gluten-free. Now, how are you going to get all of that into one pizza? So I said, okay, this is not really a pizza. It's going to be more like a hostage situation here. So I tried to manage it as well as I could. I said, okay, we're going to have half pepperoni. We're going to have half pineapple. And we're going to have a gluten-free corner of the pizza. So 30 minutes later, the delivery guy shows up and he looks kind of confused. He's holding a pizza box that looked like it had been through a war. One side was overloaded with sausage. Another side suspiciously looked healthy. And that poor gluten-free corner was just kind of hanging on for dear life. And everyone's laughing. They're looking at it. They're hungry. So I know they're going to eat it. And I'm standing there like, ladies and gentlemen, this is what happens when you don't have clear requirements. Because that's the truth. If you don't define the success in the beginning of a project, you'll end up with a pizza that nobody really wanted. That night taught me and my friends a simple lesson about project management. It's not just about tasks and timelines. It's about communication, people, clarity, and you've got to get everyone on the same page before you even start. Otherwise, you could end up with pepperoni on your pineapple, and you don't want that. So whether you're managing a team at work or leading a community project, maybe just ordering dinner, remember to set the expectations early. Communicate clearly and lock down the scope before the pizza shows up. So think about your own projects. This is my challenge for all of the viewers. Think about your own project, work, family, community. What's your pizza, your pineapple on pizza moment? What is your pineapple on pizza moment? That unexpected twist that throws everything off. Share it, reflect it, and most importantly, learn from it. What I want you to do is send me some notes on social media. We are in our hosting company is Diamond Factor Network Broadcast Studios. You can send a message to me there. We have a LinkedIn page, Born to Speak to You. We also have a Facebook page, Born to Speak to You. And you can leave notes there. Tell us what worked, what didn't work. Some things we that we could do better, we'd like to hear from you at borntospeaktoyou@gmail.com. You can send me an email even. And just remember that the best project managers don't just deliver, they deliver with clarity. And in our next episode of Born to Speak to You TV, man, we have a totally fantastic guest. We have a guest, I'm not even going to tell you her name at this point, but I'm going to tell you that she is not a traditional art therapist, but she has extensive experience using art as a means of helping individuals communicate their feelings. Yes, art that helps you communicate your feelings. And this is going to be on the next episode of Born to Speak to You TV. I want to thank you all for joining. And also, we do have one more commercial, and we'll be right back after this to wrap it all up on Born to Speak to You TV. Stay tuned. This is Calvin Gibbs with Born to Speak to You TV. Here is your Born to Rise tip. Never quit. If you stumble, just get back up. What happened yesterday no longer matters, because today is another day. So get back on track and move closer to your dreams and your goals. You can do this. You got this. But you cannot quit. When you quit, things fall through the cracks. Sometimes it's hard to get going again. So if you stumble, and we all do, just get back up. What happened yesterday, let it stay where it is in the past. It doesn't matter. Today is another day. And get back on track. Move closer to your dreams and your goals, because you can do it.
From the streets of Brooklyn, where stories grow wild, to the glow of the stage where the dream meets the child. A quiet flame, a hidden spark, drawn to the words that lit up the dark.
And we are back. This is Born to Speak to You TV, and I'm your host, Calvin Gibbs. What a fantastic episode we've had today. My guest was Florence René, and if you want to connect with Florence on social media, her LinkedIn is linkedin.com/Florence René. That's FLORENCERENE. And there you can connect with her, network with her, and just build up this community that we are working on here at Born to Speak to You TV. Our motto is speak life into the moments that matter. And no matter what you do, you have a voice. And that voice can change not only your life, but other people's life. So find opportunities to speak. If you're a project manager, there's plenty of opportunities to speak to people on your team, stakeholders, different other resources you may have to call into your project. But as Florence said, she wants her legacy to be one of hope and love and respect. And that's what it's all about. Speaking life into those moments that matter. When the team is stressed out and under pressure, when you're the project manager, you're the PM, and you have to find a way to talk people off the ledge, if you will. That's the time that you get a chance to speak life into those moments, because at that moment, those words matter. Those words can help them get back on track. Those words can help them just breathe and maybe even get creative to find a solution to a ongoing problem that may be going on with the project. And you can do this by just being mindful, by being polite, by communicating, by using your voice. Your voice is your superpower. But the main thing to do is make sure you use clarity, make sure you use precise communication, and that you always speak in the positive. So, until the next episode of Born to Speak to You TV, I'm your host, Calvin Gibbs, and we will see you at the next episode. And always remember, speak life into the moments that matter. Born to speak to you.
Of Brooklyn, where stories grow wild, to the glow of the stage where the dream meets the child. A quiet flame, a hidden spark, drawn to the words that lit up the dark. Curtains rose and so did he, finding power in